Call the Apache Junction Water District meeting to order. Roll call.
Chairman Surtee,
Here.
Vice Chairman Wilson,
Here.
Board Member Barker,
Here.
Board Member Evans,
Here.
Board Member Schroeder,
Here.
Board Member Struble.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Can we have a motion on the approval of the previous minutes?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the minutes of July 7th, 2020 be approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Schroeder,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Barker,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Mr. Struble,
Yes.
Chairman Surtee.
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Discussion and consideration of resolution number 2020-007, declaring a portion of the public utility easement located at 745 South Starr Road.
Good evening, Chairperson Surtee and members of the board. Just want to give you an update here. We have a public utility easement extinguishment that has been requested at 745 South Starr Road. No longer necessary for public use, the minimus public value. And in general, here's a map. Again, this is another utility easement that is not in the Water District service area. We don't see any potential of using this PUE in the future, so we're proposing and recommending to the board to abandon it at this point in time. Does anybody have any questions on this proposal?
Are there any questions?
I'd just like to make a comment that it's important that the public realize that we ask questions about this extinguishment as per what we're doing at Development Services. And you had told us that you and they had gotten together.
Correct.
In order to decide that this was a good extinguishment and we did not have to hold it back.
Correct. We work with Development Services and Public Works for right-of-way to see what their position is on this. That's what we base our recommendation on.
What about Arizona Water?
I have not reached out to them on their process to see if they're abandoning this at this time. It's typically up to the landowner to reach out to each individual utility,
Oh, okay,
so it wouldn't be us.
because this is their service area.
That's correct. So they'd have to reach out to them and get it abandoned, just like SRP, Southwest Gas, and Mediacom.
And they did get it surveyed.
Yes. We'll be looking at our PUE abandonments in the future, kind of make sure that we coordinate with other utilities so that we're requiring the same requirements that they have so that we're more consistent with everybody
Good.
else.
Is there a vote on this tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I will call for a motion.
Your Honor, I move that resolution number 2020-007, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Water Utilities Community Facilities District, City of Apache Junction, Arizona, declaring a portion of the public utility easement located at 745 South Starr Road, Apache Junction, Arizona, is no longer necessary for public use and is hereby extinguished, be approved.
Second?
Roll call.
Ms. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Struble,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Mr. Schroeder,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Wilson,
Yes.
Chairman Surtee.
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Presentation, discussion, and consideration of procurement of fleet vehicles.
District is requesting permission to purchase 2 replacement F-250s to replace some of our existing fleet in an F-150. This is kind of consistent with what we've done in the past, replace 2 to 3 new vehicles each year to keep our fleet with no older than 5 years old and less than 100,000 miles so that our vehicles don't take extremely large investments to maintain them out there in the future.
And this was on your budget, correct?
Yep, so next part of this here, I'm sorry. We're going to be using the state contract to purchase the vehicles, to purchase the utility beds. We'll be using a state contract for that with Mojave contract. And then this was included in our 2021 budget. And it just comes in, I think we budgeted $105,000 and we're right at $104,000.
And what do you do with the old vehicles?
We'll present them to Public Works and they'll ask some of the other departments in the city if they want to either purchase them or take them over at that point in time, or we take them to auction and sell them and recoup that money to purchase these new vehicles.
Sounds good. We have a motion on this.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the purchase of 2 replacement 2020 Ford F-250 regular cab trucks and 1 new 2020 Ford F-150 crew cab truck from Peoria Ford through the cooperative Arizona State Contract number ADSP17-166117 and for accessories through the Mojave Contract number 16E-ASH2-0702 for a total amount not to exceed $105,000 be approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Schroeder?
Yes.
Mr. Struble?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Wilson?
Yes.
Chairman Surtee?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
District Manager's Report.
I have no report, Your Honor. I just wanted to share, though, I did have a contact with the president of Arizona Water, and he was wondering if he could come to a city council meeting just to give an update on some of their efforts. So we're working on scheduling that. It may be Fred, who is the president, but it may also be their local rep here, who may be there that night. So we're still working on that. Just didn't want you not to be surprised, but that's one of those opportunities to get to know a little bit of who's here. Bill Staples is their contact here, and they can give us a little one-on-one, and we can ask some questions.
And just so the rest of council is aware, Arizona Water kind of reached out trying to get some CARES funds, and we talked it over among staff, and we felt they were doing pretty good without CARES funds. We have other businesses that could use it more, so.
Yeah.
District Director's Report.
So I want to give you guys a little history and what's going on here with water in Arizona. As we talked a few months back, when we had a rainy, nice spring, we had the Salt River Project, all their lakes were filling up. So I want to give you a little past history. So in 1905 to 1911, when Roosevelt Dam was being built, this was built by the Salt River Users Association here in the Salt River Valley. So it's a bunch of farmers that went together, collectively put together to build this dam, keep the water back there so they can use it during the drought seasons. So in 1996, we were having more water flow in there than was necessary, so they decided to raise the dam 77 feet, which they reached out to other cities and entities across the valley, and they call it water conservation space. So as the dam fills up, it's not just the Salt River Valley users that can use this water, actually other cities that purchased in to this raising of the dam is able to use this water also at that point in time. So this happened this past year when the dam actually filled up. So it equals out to this extra 77 feet that they raised it to 305,000, I got echo now, 305,000 acre feet, which is equal to about 1 million homes. So it kind of gives you perspective of what they did at that point in time. So big advancement, what they did at that point in time, so that currently the Salt River reservoirs with the Verde system and the Salt River system, they're about 2.3 million acre feet that they can store behind the dams. And that's all the dams that they have on the salt system and all the dams on the Verde system. This past spring, when it was raining, unlike now, they released 100,000 acre feet into the Salt River at Granite Reef Dam. So to put it in perspective again, for the water district to service our customers, it's about a little over 1,000 acre feet per year. They released 100,000 acre feet.
That'd been nice to keep, right, Mike?
Yes. So it'd be nice to keep. So this goes back to, we discussed a while back, I showed you guys a video of we can put CAP water into the Salt River system, but we can't put Salt River Project water into the CAP system at this point in time. It's going to take some infrastructure. Showed you that video. Eventually they'll come around. SRP's kind of put that project on hold for now, but eventually it's going to come back because that they just doesn't. That SRP doesn't want to reach 100,000 acre feet down the river if we keep having these monsoon seasons in the spring. Of course, it was nice to save that water. It would have been nice to have it now when we haven't had rain in the last 6 months. So, kind of give you an idea of where we're at. Salt River system's still 90% full at this point in time. So we're doing pretty good on that part of the system. But the city receives no Salt River water at this point in time. So I'll give you an update on the Central Arizona project now. So Lake Mead this past year actually came up 0.74 feet. So 80,000 acre feet was added to that that lake
So you're
there.
talking, it came up that much?
Yes.
Okay.
So 80,000 acre feet. If you remember, Salt River went from 50% to 100% with 100, it went up a huge amount. This went up a little over half a foot. But put it in perspective again, the size of Lake Mead is 25 million acre feet compared to 2.5 that SRP has. So 10 times larger up there at Lake Mead. And that's just one of the reservoirs on the
That
Central
doesn't
Arizona
include
project.
PAL or others on the Colorado, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't exclude
So it's a
Powell, and then
lot.
I think there's
A few.
20 other lakes that are part of that system that go all the way up into Colorado. So huge amount. But it's kind of deceiving because Lake Powell, which feeds into Lake Mead, is down 17 feet. So it lost 1 million acre feet this past year and hasn't recouped that yet, filling up from Colorado River. So it's a matter of how CAP is managing their lakes and how they dump it from one lake to the next and how they can serve their customers. So again, just showing you guys the capacity that each system has and how we can work together to keep that flowing here in Arizona. So just a quick update, fun facts to learn about and how water flows here, and just to keep in mind how SRP works, Central Arizona Project. Hopefully someday we can send water both directions and work together, and that flows either way, so that during these times like now, we have water available to all the communities rather than just the users for Salt River.
Can I ask Mike a question, Your Honor?
Sure.
Mike, is it possible, or is there if there was a possibility that the city and/or the district could work with SRP to get SRP water? Would that be an interest of you as a director to kind of?
Absolutely. If SRP came to us and looked for us like water conservation space like they provided to another city in 1996, I think the city, and hopefully the board at that point in time, would support us looking to purchase some of that conservation space so that the state land, if it ever sells to the south, we'd have more water that is available to us that we can build, an extra, not 1 million homes, but hopefully 25,000 homes or 50,000 homes that fills out here Apache Junction south of Baseline. So we'd definitely be looking into something like that. If SRP came and approached us on that, hopefully they do at some point in time, we could definitely respond back to you guys, and hopefully we get support from you guys to move forward on some kind of major project. It'd be huge for not just us, but the whole state of Arizona.
And the current, I'm sorry, Your Honor, current demand on our current allocation is what, and how much do we have available?
So currently, it's roughly about 1,200 acre feet for our customers. We currently are recharging about 800 acre feet, so roughly about 2,000 acre feet is what we'd use currently each year. What we have allocated to us for M&I is 2,900 acre feet, and then we purchased that GRIC lease for 1,000 acre feet. And then hopefully, it sounds like this year, the non-Indian agricultural water will come into effect, which is another 817 acre feet that we'll receive. So that point in time, we're looking at, roughly about 4,000 acre feet that we'd have. But looking at what the water demands are south of Baseline, we need about 20,000 acre feet. So at some point, we're going to be looking for more water. Is it non-potable reuse, like we talked about in the past? Is it going in with SRP to hopefully get some water conservation space in a dam somewhere? Is it drilling more wells? How would we get that water to get to that 20,000 acre feet compared to the 5,000 we have today?
Is your report about through?
What
Yes.
is, what, do you
I
got,
have a reason for asking that.
do you have a forecast for what is gonna be up in Colorado this winter? Do they have an idea if it's gonna be a wet winter or?
They have not. They just did a forecast the other day. There's something in the Arizona Central, or Arizona Republic, stating that we're going to be in a tier 0 water conservation for our DCP that was approved last year. It doesn't restrict any of the water that we receive because we're a higher priority as we get further down. We're going to be between, if you guys all remember, Frank was talking about 1075 is the limit where it goes in. Well, that would be tier 1 is below that. Tier 0, when we approve the DCP, is at 1090, and that restricts some of the recharge things that when CAP had extra water that they could purchase it for replenishing different districts, or some people that have to join the CRGRD to replenish for subdivisions and different things. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
You threw out a bunch of numbers there, but yeah,
All right.
you're okay.
Any other questions on some of these?
Did you have other things?
I have one more
Okay.
subject, but
Go
not on water. I just,
Go ahead and do that. Since I don't anticipate the treasurer having a long report,
Okay.
and since we're only at 15 minutes, I didn't coordinate with Bryant, but I was gonna ask you some things when you're done,
Okay.
just to get our money's worth out of this board.
Okay. Just another quick update. The Arizona Water and Wastewater Agency Response Network, AZ Warren, you guys approved our agreement. I think it was about a year ago again on this. Since the pandemic started, we've had weekly meetings to see how the city of Phoenix is handling their pandemic with their water resources, how the city of Scottsdale's managing theirs, how their employees doing, what's going on here, just in case, small utility comes up and we lose all of our operators that operate our plant, we have somebody available that could come in and take that over and run it for us at that point in time if they come down with COVID-19. So we've been working through that. It's been an interesting time there. We've actually gained 5 new members in the past 6 months. As COVID went on, I think some other smaller utilities see the benefit of this. I think we'll see more people coming on in the near future. So it's good network to get out to understand how people are managing this outside just our little district and how the bigger cities are taking care of themselves too. So just a quick update on that. For you guys, you're going to get asked the question here coming up, I'm pretty sure, is turnoffs and delinquent payments. At this point in time, we're still saying the same that we have been for the last 3 or 4 months, where we haven't shut anybody off as long as they're in contact with us. And delinquency, we're trying to keep to a minimum and keep them at least paying something at this point in time so they don't have a huge water bill 6 months from now if this all ends up. So been pretty successful like we talked before, still moving forward. I believe it's less than 1% of our customers that are delinquent in those cases. And again, once in a while, if the customer doesn't reach back out to us, we'll go out and hang a door tag on their door saying we're going to shut off their water, and sure enough, within 24 hours they contact us, even though we've been trying to reach them for 2 months. They see that on their door and they decide to reach out to us. So taking care of a lot of the issues. So just to give you an update, that's where we're at. If you get asked out in the public where we're at on that, again, we're taking it month by month, seeing how other utilities are doing it. We're pushing out another month right now, so it'll be mid-September, and our next board meeting we'll give you guys an update on that again too. Any questions or comments on that? Nope. And that was my last thing for today.
Okay, since don't want to have a 20-minute meeting. So, a few years ago, we started having the state of the city, and we do that pretty early in the year, and one of the new mayors will not have had time to really work on this, so we're starting to get this in order already. Hopefully we can meet in person. If not, we may have to do it digitally, and of course a lot of the state of the city is videos anyway. But what we wanted it to be about this year is about, since we're going to be having the auction to the south and the growth to the south, a lot of the things that you guys just talked about, we want to present to the public that yes, we have water, we have sewer. We want to invite Arizona Water, SRP, to be presenters if we have to, if not just on video, because started thinking about this when we're doing 80 homes, right? Is it 80 homes or 100, right at the end of Goldfield? And people are saying, we don't have water for that. We do. We have much more water for that than that. So we want to show our citizens and the rest of the valley just how well suited we are to build not 1 million homes. But what do you think about that? Can you? Are you already coordinating with Matt on that? Are you already getting numbers together? And
I have not at this point, but I definitely can work with him. We can get Arizona Water in there so they can understand, because they're going to be part of that. The sewer district can join us because we're going to need some of their water coming back to us when we provide it to them. And we can work with SRP if that's part of it, and CAP, I'm sure they would come down. They were out for the state of the city this past time, so I'm sure they would give a presentation.
And the CAP and the sewer and our water were all right there on the edge. So you couldn't ask for a better situation. I mean, the infrastructure is really close. And so, like I said, I'm excited about it, and I think it's going to be an eye-opener for a lot of the residents of just how we can handle this. And
Absolutely.
also the close proximity to the airport. as the crow flies. It's only 2 or 3 miles from the airport, so that all ties in too. So, like I said, if we can get started, sooner the better. Just don't take from what you're doing, but, just start thinking about how we should present that and how we could present it.
Yeah, we can start putting together some points. I'll work with Matt on it, and it's going to be working with, hopefully, state land sales at some point, working with some of their numbers that they have south of there. But obviously, Apache Junction is a lot larger than just this portion they're
And
selling off
Bryant,
currently.
when is the auction exactly?
October 20th,
October 20th.
2020.
Yeah,
We hope. We hope.
Oh, 20 years.
yeah.
I remember talking to George in 2001. He's like, yeah, they're getting ready to auction, and
Yeah.
oh, that's great. I live off of Baseline Tomahawk, and I know that area real well, and thinking that's where we're gonna open it up, and they didn't do it at that time, and then in 06, 07, didn't happen, and so this is the third time. So this is October 20th, 2020.
Now, they did cut it back a little, right? They're only gonna do,
Correct. So they have articulated an area of about 5,800 acres that could be annexed by the city down to the 24, which is about 5 square miles, about 8 square miles. And currently they're looking at 4 square miles to auction off as the first piece, which is what we, are aware of and would be prepared for. The water is the main driver.
and that's all our water. That's not Arizona Water's district, correct?
That is correct.
And so far, this year has been stellar, so you've got this.
Well, 2020, don't even say that. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, okay, don't say it. Don't give it energy yet.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on any of that or suggestions? Let Mike know what you'd like to see.
Make it sound simpler than acre feet.
Okay,
and
we can do that.
Crick and all of these acronyms.
Yeah, the idea of an
make
acre
it
foot is we're gonna have to figure out how
Well, like
water
when,
departments,
that was
Do a visual.
fascinating,
a visual of how, like an acre foot
But
is
if
an
you-
acre of water, that does
and that was
1,000 home, yeah.
fascinating that Lake Mead came up 7 inches and it meant that. So
Mm-hmm.
if it comes up an inch, how much does it mean,
Absolutely, yeah, I can tame it down a little bit, and
Do a visual.
visuals, okay?
And like Arizona, Arizona Water has the biggest tank in town, right? The one at Idaho. Is that bigger than ours?
The biggest one in the city.
How much does that hold in acre feet? Or is it an acre foot?
Roughly 6.
That's 6 acre feet
6
in
or
that
7
big
acre
tank.
feet right there. So,
Okay.
Which is how many gallons?
2 million,
Pardon?
2 million gallons.
Holy.
So like the one they're building now, I believe is 250,000 gallons, so that's equal to about an acre foot, the new one that's being built up there right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Big pool.
Yes.
All right, fascinating. So, yeah, we could make this fascinating for the people, let them have a better, we hear all this info every month in here, so
Right.
let's get this out in front of our citizens
Yeah,
and let them know.
One of the biggest questions is what is surface water versus what is groundwater? Understanding how that actually sometimes the groundwater is actually replenishing itself in Arizona as more and more surface water is being used, and as crops and those kind of things go away.
And we
So-
haven't drilled a well for how long?
It was before I was here, I believe. Frank just got here, and it was 12, 14 years ago was the last time we drilled a
Do
well.
we want to drill a well down in that area just as a backup to,
Well, that'll be part of the process, even though it won't be groundwater. The groundwater that we're replenishing, that we pump out of the ground, would be considered surface water at that time. So we would be drilling wells in that area, but it's not considered groundwater at that time because we've replenished all this water and storing it for future date, be considered surface water at that point in time. And that's why we'll get back into our groundwater storage facility that we were looking at about a year ago, start looking at pieces of property for that we did the whole study on. We'll be coming back around to some of those things in the future here, so.
and I'm not picking at them, but the reason our water tastes better than Arizona water is because we don't use groundwater, right?
Correct. A lot of the hardness, they're probably around 1,000 on their hardness, and we're at about 500. So, little quality difference because it's CAP water. Also, their water's probably a little warmer. If you noticed, if you live in certain areas,
Yeah.
ours is about, coming off the CAP is about 70 degrees compared to about 90, 95.
All of our customers have nicer skin because we don't have that hard water. So, Okay. All right, thank you. District Treasurer's Report. Okay, with that, we will be adjourned.